After watching this video, you will have a clear understanding on what drives muscle hypertrophy. I'm sure whether you're a beginner starting in the gym or an advanced trainee, you will learn from this video. I will break it down into 4 sections: time under tension, progressive overload, choice of exercise, and nutrition. Let's get started with time under tension. Time under tension is the duration of the set. In other words, how long the muscle is working for. For hypertrophy training, the optimal time under tension is anywhere from 24 to 70 seconds, but let's stick to between 24 and 36 seconds. This duration is determined by the number of reps per set and the tempo. The optimal tempo is 2-1, meaning a 2-second negative and a 1-second positive. So with a tempo of 2-1, each rep lasts 3 seconds, which means to reach a time under tension of 24 to 36 seconds, you need to do at least 8 reps. As a rule of thumb, don't go over 12 reps. So in most cases, you should be doing 10 reps, which puts you at a cozy 30-second time under tension. Now you might be wondering why I'm sitting out on my patio. Me too. On a side note, how many sets should you be doing? Just do 3 to 4, easy as that. So to recap, so far, we know that for muscle hypertrophy, we should be doing 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 12 reps with a tempo of 2 seconds on the negative and 1 second on the positive, which puts us at an optimal time under tension. It's illegal to text and drive, but they never said anything about filming a guide on hypertrophy and driving, right? Progressive overload, in my opinion, is often a roadblock for many gym goers in the sense that they don't train hard enough or they don't keep track of their progress. Progressive overload is the process in which the difficulty of the workout increases as you progress. If you want to build muscle, you need to send a signal to your body that the amount of muscle tissue it has is not enough to meet the demand. So how hard should you train? In general, you should train at an RPE of 8 to 9. RPE stands for rate of perceived exertion, and its scale is out of 10. So an RP of 10 means maximum effort. You could not have done another rep. RP 8 or 9 means you had 1 or 2 reps left in the tank. Staying 1 or 2 reps shy of failure will induce the same amount of muscle growth as training to failure, but it greatly reduces the amount of physical and mental fatigue, as well as reduce the risk of injury. I do recommend training to failure though once in a while, so that you know what training to failure feels like. For example, if you've hit a plateau, you might want to choose a day where you go to failure on the first set of each exercise. You might realize you've been training at an RP of 5 or 6. Here's a few examples of what RP 8 or 9 look like. I just did 12 reps at an RP of 10, which means I would have to do 10 reps to be at an RP of 8. Now you know the effort you should be putting into each set, but you're going to get stronger and it's going to get easier to push the same weight. Progressive overload is about maintaining the same level of effort by increasing the intensity of your workouts. The most basic way of increasing intensity is by increasing the weight. Make sure to utilize those 2.5 pounds. Even if you don't feel the difference, every added pound will make a difference in the long run. But simply adding weight isn't always viable. For example, if you're using 20 pounds for lateral raise, going up to 25 might be impossible as the difference is just way too big. This brings us to another way of increasing intensity, which is by adding reps. Instead of adding weight, add an extra rep. As you increase the number of reps, you'll get stronger and it will be easier to jump to the next set of dumbbells. Let's take the lateral raise as an example again. Let's say you start at 10 reps with 20 pounds. For the next 2 workouts, you would do 11 and then 12 reps. For the third workout, you would decrease the reps to 8, but you would do 25 pounds. And eventually you would go back up to 10 reps. Remember, the optimal number of reps is 10, but it's okay to switch it up for the sake of progressive overload. You do want to stick to between 8 and 12 reps. I strongly recommend keeping track of your workouts by writing down everything you did for each workout. The weight, the number of reps and set, as well as the rest period. This will make progressive overload easier, as you'll know exactly what you did last time, and you'll know exactly what to do this time to increase the intensity. Now that you've got a good idea of the general parameters for hypertrophy training, let's move on to the exercises themselves. More specifically, how to choose the right exercise. Choosing the right exercise will depend on your personal situation and needs. If you want a full, detailed hypertrophy program tailored to your specific needs, you can visit the description and click on the link to visit my Fiverr page. Let's go over a few important points when choosing an exercise. First of all, the exercise needs to allow you to use a full range of motion. For example, I wouldn't recommend dumbbell tricep kickbacks because you're only using about 50% of the range of motion of the tricep. Instead, use a cable to fully stretch the muscle. Another thing to consider is the level of difficulty. A beginner probably shouldn't be doing bench press for the chest. They should instead start with a machine press. That way they can learn to use the muscle properly before adding technical difficulty. Finally, the most important thing about exercise selection is personal enjoyment. The optimal exercise will always be the one you don't skip. Let's start nutrition. For muscle hypertrophy, you need to be in a caloric surplus, consume enough protein, all without neglecting those micronutrients. The ideal caloric surplus is around 300 to 500 calories. Going over 500 will result in excess fat with no additional muscle mass. You need to consume anywhere from 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. This means 126 to 180 grams for a person who weighs 180 pounds. The quality and frequency of ingestion should also be considered. Plant-based protein is inferior to animal-sourced protein as they don't contain the same amount or flat out missing some essential amino acids. If you're a vegetarian, I would recommend supplementing with essential amino acids for maximal muscle growth. Speaking of supplementation, anyone going to the gym should be taking creatine. It's cheap, safe, and it leads to a decent increase in strength and muscle mass. Speaking of frequency, 25 to 30 grams of protein every 3 to 4 hours is optimal for muscle growth. Now you might be thinking, wow Lucas, what a generic meal. Chicken, rice, broccoli? Come on man, that's so boring. Just wait. Oh yeah. Oh, that's way too much. On a serious note, sauce is a great way to bulk. You get so many calories, and it's very easy to eat. Finally, the quality of the calories you ingest should also be considered. A diet full of junk food with the same number of calories and protein as a nutrient-rich diet will not lead to the same amount of muscle growth. It's important to choose healthy food when bulking, as they contain more micronutrients and less harmful ingredients. To wrap this video up, I want to give a few more tips that I couldn't really fit in the previous categories. How long should you rest for? I see a lot of people resting for way too long. For hypertrophy, you should be resting between 60 to 90 seconds. It's normal to not feel fully recovered between each set. This builds metabolic stress, which on top of micro tears is what fundamentally drives muscle growth. Alcohol has been shown to decrease muscle growth. So if you're serious about lifting weights, you might want to choose between optimal muscle growth and going out every weekend. Get at least 8 hours of sleep per night. This will allow your body to repair muscle tissue and produce more testosterone. So that's it. Now you have everything you need to get started in the gym. If you're still confused about which exercise to do, click the link in the description.